Listen in. Starbucks. It's a great day for coffee.
Why are there ridges on Reese's peanut butter cups? Probably so they never slip from her hands. Can you imagine? I'd lose it. Luckily, Reese's thought about that. Wonder what else they think about. Probably chocolate and peanut butter.
Happy Halloween, everybody! It is just a couple days until Halloween, and we are doing our traditional talking about a children's movie for Halloween. And this year, we were graced with a 15-year anniversary of a movie that I can't believe we actually didn't get to, because talking about a horrifying children's movie.
Yeah, it really is.
We are talking about 2009's Coraline. Feels perfect, because I think last year we did Paranorman, which is kind of the same vibe. And I want to throw out one thing that I realized towards the very end of this movie before I dive into the plot summary, is there's a scene towards the end of this movie where two of the characters are fighting with a crawling hand that's like jumping all over the damn place. And it was in that moment that I remembered, like, I'm watching stop motion. Like, like the movie's so seamless with its stop motion that it's easy to feel like you're watching a CGI movie. But like trying to even wrap my head around how much time and work and effort went into making that scene happen, like made my brain hurt as I was finishing this movie.
No, you know what? You're right. It does really seamlessly. It's not seamless, but we don't see the seams, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I totally forgot that it was stop motion. It's so many moments.
I would argue that if you're watching like Nightmare Before Christmas, or even kind of close to the same time as Coraline, like A Corpse Bride, there's still just enough of a stutter to it where you're reminded constantly that it's stop motion. I really, truly believe Coraline is like one of the peak stop motion films in just like how smooth everything feels. And I think it's because throughout this movie there's so many layers, right? Like if Coraline turns around and she's wearing a jacket, there is that effect of the wind catching the jacket as she moves that just makes it feel so like particularly perfectly placed together. But before we do anything, what y'all drinking?
Since this is a children's show this week, so no saying fuck. I wanted to get something that was very, very spooky and non-alcoholic. And so I got this Everfresh lime-flavored juice, which it looks like Ecto Cooler.
It does.
And the thing that always pissed me off about Ecto Cooler is that it was orange juice flavored. It was orange flavored, but it was green. This is green and it's lime flavored. So let's see. I mean, this is a green flavor. So let's see. It's like a really, really sweet limeade. It's like actually not good. The kids would love this shit. Yeah, a child would be like, "This is the best thing ever." I feel like it would be perfect for like if you were going to like have a kid friendly Halloween party. You could call that like zombie juice or something like that. Yeah. It's got enough tartness that kids would be like, wow, because kids get crazy like that.
Kids love that shit. They love just a little spin, just a little twist on it.
Yes.
If I had thought better, I would have got a V8 because of their because all the gardening. I didn't even fucking think about it until literally right now. I'm just drinking a rosé flavored seltzer from Waterloo. It's maybe if I was gonna, it's the true end of summer with Halloween, even though the true end of summer was last month. with the changing of the seasons, but just I don't know. I'm really grasping at straws. I didn't have a drink. I'm still recovering from being sick.
It's fine. No one's going to judge you.
I feel bad that I don't have the Halloween drink. I didn't put any thought into it.
It's all right. You were sick. It happens.
God, thank you.
So the movie Coraline tells the story of 11-year-old Coraline. Her and her parents moved to an apartment in Oregon. Her parents run a gardening magazine. While she searches outside for an old well, she meets a black cat and Wibbly. Oh my God, Wybie? How do you pronounce this kid's name?
Wybie. Yeah, you got it the second time around, bud.
Wybie, the landlord's grandson, who gives her a rag doll that looks exactly like her. When she starts to get some serious cabin fever on a rainy day, her parents advise her to explore the house. And that's where she finds a small door that has a bricked up entrance. And it's at this point that I need to give a shout out. The scene where she's searching the house captures the rainy day vibe of adolescence so wonderfully. Like, even in its kind of cartoonish way of her like trying to stomp the bump in the rug and stuff, it does just capture one of those, like, it's raining outside, there's nothing to do, you're just like walking around trying to find something to do. Your parents are home. Maybe it's like a rainy Saturday or Sunday, and they're trying to get shit done. And they're just like, for the love of God, stop asking us questions. Like, find anything to do, please.
No, it totally evoked that emotion. Like, I loved that sequence, and this is my first watch. I've never seen this before.
Oh wow, that's awesome!
I
love that for you.
I wish thank you. I wish I had gone and seen it in the theaters. I'm sure some of our listeners had gone back and seen it in the theaters during the re-release recently. It would have been really cool, but at the same time, like, I probably would have watched this at home as a kid anyway. Like, it was just past my like going to the movies for a kids movie thing. My sister was maybe 8, but like I wasn't, like, I could drive, you know, like, so it was not at the time that I probably would have seen it in a theater or had been all that excited about it.
And I want to say that this was released originally in 3D. I think that this was during that like 3D bump where they were doing the 3D version of this movie. And while I was very anti 3D at that time, the visuals in this movie probably would have been fantastic. With that third dimension. So late at night, she finally goes through the door and she meets her other parents, who are more attentive and more loving, but they unfortunately have buttons where their eyes should be. And I got to give
the only bad part.
I got to give a quick shout out to John L. of They Might Be Giants, who actually provides the singing voice for her father in this sequence. I clocked it immediately. I'm like, that is one of the guys from They Might Be Giants.
I thought it was Ben Folds. Like, at first I thought it was Ben Folds, and then I looked it up and found out otherwise.
But this is, you know, her first night. She's like, this is where I want to be. I want to be in the other world. Everything's better in the other world. However, it's day. She's back home in her regular life, and this is where she meets some of the other tenants. And I just love how weird all the other tenants are. They're so charming. They're so strange. We will talk about the fact that they really go for anatomically correct, I guess, on some of these characters, especially when we get a very weird burlesque show that feels overwhelmingly too revealing for a kids movie. In one scene where a character has basically tassels over her nipples and nothing else. I was just like, what is happening in this movie? But they warn her about her house, that the landlord's own sister disappeared in that house, which is why no one usually wants to live there. Coraline at night goes back, and this is where she realizes that the other mother has made a promise to her, that she's allowed to stay forever in this other world so long as she allows her mother to sew buttons over top of her eyeballs. Coraline refuses and tries to run back home, hoping that once again she'll fall asleep and wake up in the real world, but finds that she's now trapped in this other world. This is where the movie gets fucking gnarly, because Other Mother starts to morph and change from this point on. And she locks Coraline away, where she meets the 3 ghost children, one of them being the grandmother's lost sister, who explained to her that basically the Other Mother is a beldam? Is that how it's pronounced? Beldam? Bedlam? Whatever they refer to her as. She survives by swallowing the souls of children. I feel like, honestly, we're talking about the same creature as It. Like,
it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah,
it's basically the same creature as It. She escapes from this other world with the help of a talking cat voiced by Keith David and these 3 ghost children. But only when she escapes the other world does she find that her parents have now been stolen, and she must go back in order to save them. Learning that the other mother loves a game, she challenges the mother to a game, saying that she'll be able to find the souls of all the ghost children. And she succeeds, but when she returns, her mother is now a full-blown spider monster, a la It. With the help of the ghosts, she's able to escape with her parents, but they have absolutely no memories of the events which took place. The 3 ghost children then thank Coraline for her help, but warn that as long as the key to that secret room is around, she is always going to be in danger. She attempts to throw it down the well, but the other mother's hand escapes behind the door and tries to drag her back.
Made out of sewing needles. It's so horrifying.
Yeah.
Ugh.
YB arrives at the last second to find and destroy the hand, and that ends this very bizarre, very interesting, very scary children's movie from 15 years ago.
Kids need to get scared like that. I think that's one of the things that I don't like about
it's only
my
in stop motion movies.
As parents, you do
a Frankenweenie, you do a Paranorman, or you do this, and it like really doesn't shy away from like gross, scary shit.
Yeah,
in a way that a lot of other stuff doesn't.
You can get them into things like we grew up with Labyrinth, Neverending Story, Legend, like all those kids movies. I mean, Legend is Ridley Scott, so it's like kind of straddling the line between kids movie, like, those dark fairy tale type movies. Yeah. This is very similar, and I think the kids need and like to be scared. Like, we took our nephew, who's 5, to Spirit Halloween, and he was like, I don't know if I want to go over near the animatronics. They're scary. And we were like, well, we'll do them together. And he had the best time, and he wanted to high five the witch that went up, like 15 feet or whatever, because I high fived it. And you show the kids that you show the kids in your life that that being fun, like that rush of adrenaline, is fun. Being scared, it's fun to be scared. It's spooky things are fun. Like I really don't appreciate, and it's not my place to say because people should be able to raise their kids the way they want within reason, but don't appreciate the fact that so many like millennials have raised their kids probably because they were raised in a similar way to like be afraid of trick or treat. Trunk or treat is all you can find nowadays because every parent is afraid that someone's going to steal their kids. No one wants to steal your fucking kids.
They would give them back so fast.
Yeah, exactly. No one wants your fucking kids.
They'd be like, they keep waking me up to ask for Robux, and I just can't keep spending this money. Take your goddamn children back.
And the other, I mean, like, trick or treating is super fun, and it's a bit of freedom because kids want some freedom. And like Coraline, she just wanted to have a little bit of freedom, and her parents were supportive of that. Yeah, she found a little bit more than she asked for, but everybody survived. Everybody learned a valuable lesson. Yeah. So these are things that I think that we've lost in the current time as with parents, and parenting should be let kids be scared, let kids be kids.
Well, so I've got 2 things that I want to say. First off, Spirit Halloween, Scott, you might have a connection there.
Just a bit.
Exciting related Geekscape news that I forgot to share with all you guys. That one of the animatronics this year for Spirit, I believe it's called Carnival, but it's like a giant carnival barker. Is voiced by the host of $2 Late Fee, Dustin Rubin.
That's amazing.
Very nice.
It's like 8 feet tall, and congratulations, Dustin, because that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was very, very... He shared it. I know he does voice acting, so when he shared a random animatronic from Spirit Halloween out of the blue, I was like, I think I know where this is going. And he said, if you buy this animatronic, you might hear a familiar voice. And I clicked it, and I'm like, yep, that's the voice of Dustin, all right.
That's great.
Secondly, as someone who's been kind of just tossed into the world of children and the fascinating ways that they operate, the thing that baffles me is that Barb's oldest is like fascinated by horror and petrified by it at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So why is that surprising to you? You were the exact same way. So was I, but like...
But like, so if we take him into his spirit, he will literally just stop dead in his tracks when he sees the animatronics moving and like cannot build up the strength to leave there. But then we'll put on YouTube and show me like a 20-minute short film that some animator made that's like Inside Out meets Event Horizon, where like all the Inside Out characters have their eyeballs ripped open and they're bleeding out of orifices, and he's just like not fazed by it whatsoever, like loves Five Nights at Freddy's, like loves the idea of all this horror stuff, and then when he's faced with it is just like breaks down in a way. So I'm like, that's my new goal, is I need to figure out a way to like bridge that gap where he feels safe. That's what I'm trying to step up to as an adult male figure, is like I need him to love horror on the level that I think he secretly loves horror.
Yeah.
You'll get there.
I feel like the last couple weeks we've started this new format where we're doing the plot breakdowns and we're chiming in, and it's given us like pretty decent length episodes. We're talking like 20, 30, sometimes almost 40 minutes about the movie before we get into the closing segments. Coraline, it's kind of a little bit more difficult because like there's not much to pick apart. It is a tight script. Yeah. It's beautifully done, but it's like at a certain point, all you can do is just keep showering praise on how amazing it is. Like,
and I do have one technical bit of praise to grant them, which is the fact that, as you said at the beginning of the episode, it feels like sometimes you're so immersed, it's so immersive that you forget that it's stop motion. And I love that some of the set pieces were just them flexing how good they are at their job. Like literally the rug scene, which you were talking about, they didn't need that. They were flexing how good they are at stop motion. And when she's annoying her dad and she's like messing with the door, like that was specifically created almost like a B-roll for them to like get more work. It's so cool to watch.
Well, it does make me think that like there was not a thing that they didn't think that they could do for the movie. You know what I mean? There's nothing that's like phoned in. There's nothing that like, and I guess I don't know how you phone in. I am not an animator, so maybe there is shit that is, maybe there is and we just don't see it. But everything seems to like matter, and they can do it, and they did it all well. There's not a bit that I don't dig.
What was that movie with Brendan Fraser? Monkey Bone. That whole thing was phoned in. There you go. There's your answer right there.
Yeah, there's Henry Selick had to bounce back from Monkey Bone, and he did tenfold.
Well, but then the other thing I have to throw out there is like I never know how to pronounce this company's name. Is it Laika? Laika?
Yeah. They did the Missing Link too, right? They did Missing Link.
I mean,
they're a camera company first and foremost.
So Laika is the camera company. Right? So maybe Laika, Laika.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's spelled differently. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, Laika, which is weirdly owned by the co-founder of Nike. Like he finances these things, which I can
maybe
only
it's
imagine.
Likey then.
Yeah,
Likey. Me likey.
But it makes me wonder. I'm not going to do the deep dive right now, but it makes me wonder if he just has a legitimate love of this type of stuff. Let me see. Here it goes. Here we go. In the late 90s, Will Vinton Studios, known for its stop-motion films and commercials, so that's the company that did, like, the California tomatoes, the California raisins, and stuff like that. They were looking for
fucking B-rate California tomatoes.
Jesus Christ. They were looking for funds to make a feature-length movie, and were bringing in outside investors, which included the Nike owner Phil Lord, because his son Travis worked at the studio as an animator. So like the owner of Nike's son is a stop motion animator, and they like as a father and son duo basically like created this multi-award winning studio that produces like one film every 4 years basically.
But
because it's so intensive. But yeah, they've done Coraline was their first feature, and then they did Paranorman. They did the Box Trolls. They did Kubo and the Two Strings, which is great. It's probably the least financially successful of all their films, but it's amazing. And then Missing Link was the last one they did in 2019. They have a new one that will come out next year at some point called Wildwood. which I clicked into just to see. It is a stop-motion dark fantasy adventure film.
Hell yes.
Can't
wait.
Let's go.
The voice cast, just a few of the names that jumped out at me. I mean, Awkwafina's in damn near everything.
Yeah.
But it has voice acting from Jake Johnson from like Spider-Verse and New Girl, Charlie Day, Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords, Tom Waits, and Maya from Pen 15. So I mean,
Nice.
a movie that's got voice acting from Maya from Pen 15 and Tom fucking Waits, like,
Yeah.
Man, Tom Waits.
which I'm trying to
I miss that
imagine
guy's
what
voice.
Tom Waits is going to voice. Like,
He voices the hero.
oh my god, I'd watch the shit out of it.
Just like a playful child that's in the woods, voiced by Tom Waits.
This simple one sentence premise has me interested. Prue and her best friend Curtis are drawn into a hidden magical forest after Prue's baby brother Mac is kidnapped by crows led by a mysterious woman named Alexandria.
Yes.
So it's like stop motion labyrinth, like fucking sign me the fuck up for this movie. Hook it straight to my veins. I cannot wait.
Gift the remarkable with Marc Jacobs fragrances this holiday season. From the iconic Daisy and Perfect to the all-new Daisy Wild, Marc Jacobs perfume gift sets include everything she needs to feel special. From her favorite fragrance, plus the matching travel spray, holiday gifts don't get much more perfect than this. So if you're looking for a gift inspiration these holidays, gift the remarkable with Marc Jacobs.
Put down that smartphone and listen to me. I'm Matthew Milligan, professional musician and lifelong Weird Al fan. Each week, I'm joined by professional podcaster and close personal friend Matt Kelly to take a dive off the deep end into the vast career of pop culture icon Weird Al Yankovic on our show, Weird Algorithm. Along with some very special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we tackle every song, every television appearance, and every bit of sketch comedy Al has produced in chronological order, covering the good old days of My Bologna and Eat It, the fun zone of tacky and white and nerdy, and everything in between. As we go, we're ranking the songs, albums, and music videos in the hopes of creating the ultimate guide to a career bigger than the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. So the next time you're having one of those days, stuck in a traffic jam, wondering why does this always happen to me, just kick off your sneakers and stick around for a while because we've got it all on Weird Algorithm, available wherever you get your podcasts. And now you know. Was that enough references?
I think that's all we really have to say about Coraline. Unfortunately, beyond go fucking see it.
Yeah.
That being said, because this is like a group pick for Halloween.
Yeah,
so.
this is a group pick. So I have two. I have a funny one that I'll do later, but the one that I would actually double feature this with is The House with the Clock in Its Walls, because I remember really enjoying that. It was basically like the Goosebumps movie that I wanted.
Yeah, no, that was shockingly good. We won't talk about who directed it, but it was shockingly good.
Shit, I forgot.
Dude, I mean, you said it, chapter 1, and it really got me going. It was not what I wrote down, but I think that it is what I'd rather watch. Now, not rather watch. The one that I put down was Monster House. I put down Monster House. I fucking love Monster House, and it just, I mean, it's just it would just be great. It'd be a great night. But chapter 1 would be really special, I think.
Just because you mentioned Monster House.
Oh, wait, no! Sorry. Continue.
I was going to say, just because you mentioned Monster House, I do have to give a shout out. 91 Donkey Lane is about to wrap up their show. They're going to end on episode 150. And they do have that reoccurring bit every couple episodes where they just stop the show to watch Monster House. So, since you mentioned
they'll do it one last time.
Yeah. One more time. All right, so hear me out on this. About 10 minutes into this movie, specifically with the way her parents were and her being kind of this weird outcast who doesn't fit in but finds a world through a hole in the wall. I thought this is like Lydia Dietz discovering the other worlds in Beetlejuice.
That makes sense.
So I went with the double feature Beetlejuice with this because why the fuck not?
Now, if you wanted to get really crazy, think about how odd the other people that live in the house are. And then remember all the odd people that live in the brownstone in the Sentinel and the cat party.
Yeah, the cat party.
Was
that what you were about to say? Yeah. You know what it also weirdly made me think of, but I wasn't going to write this down? the entire TV show Pushing Daisies.
Very much Pushing Daisies. The color pattern, the color palette is so similar.
Ellen Green's character is like the former diver. Like it's just so it's got that same vibe all through it.
There is one more that I'm going to throw out too that I almost thought of, but we're actually going to talk about it in like a few weeks. So I'm just going to say that for anybody who wants to dig deep and try to figure out what we're going to talk about later this year, Henry Selick is involved in both of these movies, and they both involve sisters. Twin sisters.
Well, Kyle, you're giving us a little preview, but let's give everybody a little bit of a promo because the time is ticking on those scare packages. Just a few days left to get a scare package. Get it in, tell us your t-shirt size. Tell us which shirts you already have, and we will send you a surprise shirt with a bunch of surprise swag. So do it. We cannot wait. Thank you for your support. We love you. And lastly, let's talk about stuff that we've recently seen. I'm going to jump in here and cheat because I have a double feature to my double feature because I saw Beetlejuice,
yeah,
which
nice.
now is 3 times I've said it. We're all in a lot of trouble on this episode. But I have never been more confused by how I feel about a movie. Have either of you seen Beetlejuice yet?
Not yet, no.
There are elements of the movie that are fantastic. When I saw the trailer, I was like, fuck, they're leaning way too hard in the CGI. But they're really not. It's filled with tons of stop motion. It's filled with tons of puppetry. Like, it's all of those things that you want. The color palettes are fun. Like, Michael Keaton is killing it as Beetlejuice. Catherine O'Hara is as perfect as you could ever want. She's literally like showing up there playing her character from Schitt's Creek more than she's playing Delia at this point. So it's like those elements are delightful. The problem is that there are like 15 plots happening and none of them fucking matter. Like my mild spoiler, the classic Tim Burton now has to put his wife in every movie. Like, yeah. There is a character
girlfriend. Monica Bellucci is like his girlfriend, but I
sorry, I thought they had married. But
they'd gotten, are they? I think they're. Just
I don't know, maybe, but yes,
his
girlfriend, whatever. Whoever he's fucking, he makes a way to put them in the movie. She shows up in the beginning of the movie. They establish that she's Beetlejuice's ex-girlfriend, and then you don't fucking see her for over an hour of the movie, and then she like shows up in the third act. And is like so quickly handled that I'm just like, why is she even here? Like, and there's just a lot of plots like that where you're just like, we didn't need this. Like, all we needed, if the movie was literally just Lydia's daughter doesn't believe that she can see ghosts, and the journey that they go on for her to like respect her mother, that's the only story you need. Because like, what I realized the more that I watch Beetlejuice is what's magical about Beetlejuice is that like, yeah, there really isn't a villain besides Beetlejuice, and he's so barely in the movie. It's a family drama presented as a comedy that just has this like demonic spirit that shows up for 7 minutes of the movie. And it's like, that's all you needed. Like, that's all, like, that's where the movie works, is like handling something heavy and literally handling the death of Lydia's father, which is like the catalyst of the whole movie. That like sets up what could be a heavy family drama to do this like dark humor with it. That's everything. I'm done. I hope I didn't spoil too much of Beetlejuice. Oh God, I keep saying it.
Stop it.
But yeah, you two pick out who gets to wrap it up for us.
I'll go next. It's October. Did you know?
Shit.
And I've been watching the episodes of Shudder's Horror's Greatest.
Oh yeah.
How is it?
He's about to tell us.
The first episode I did not dig. The first episode, I was like, this feels a lot like Survival of the Film Freaks. It feels a little clunky and just a clip show, which I also love. Like, but I was like, there's no real, and I forget what the pilot episode 1 was supposed to, like, what the theme of it was, because it didn't make sense. It was fun to watch all those clips, like, for sure. It was less fun to hear some of the people talk about them because it was not cohesive. But then the next episode that I had watched, I'm only 3 episodes in. The next episode I had watched was the Kaiju episode or monster movies, but mainly they talked a lot about kaiju movies. So that was fun because it started to sort of streamline into a theme. And even if you sort of knew about the theme, they sprinkle it in with like a couple top 5 lists and a couple like sort of things to break it up. And then the most recent one that I watched was the Japanese horror one, which is also a total blind spot for me. So to like talk about the classic Japanese cinema and classic Japanese horror cinema, and all the way up to, you know, what we call J-horror, what we Americans called J-horror when we were remaking stuff, and then all the stuff in between, like the Japanese extremities and stuff like that. That was fun. It was fun. So if you're sort of like one of those people who has to watch everything, make it past the first episode because it does get better. Or you can just watch Survival of the Film Freaks on Tubi. That is also available to you. But it's fun. I'm excited to see what the next episodes bring. The next episode that I'm going to watch is the horror comedy one, which I think will be fun to sort of like specifically look into. But yeah.
All right, and I'm going to take us home with a very ironic discussion choice of mine. I did not plan this. For listeners, I did not know that Matt was going to talk about Beetlejuice today.
We got to stop saying that name.
I've only said it twice. Anyway, I watched the Sorcerer's Apprentice from like 2011 or something, 2010, with Jay Baruchel, Nicolas Cage, Alfred Molina, and Monica fucking Bellucci.
Yeah.
It is the strangest, dumbest Disney movie, live action movie I've probably ever seen, because I'm watching it and I'm thinking to myself, this is a kid's movie, right? This is supposed to be like a Percy Jackson, a Harry Potter, like they're all trying to cash in on that young adolescent, like 10 to 12-year-old thing, right? No, because he's 10 in the first scene, and then
you're also dealing with the psychotic idea that somebody somewhere sat down and said, "Hey,
let's
you
make
know
a movie
that
around that one scene in Fantasia."
Yeah, let's take the 8-minute short that's most famous for starring Mickey Mouse from Fantasia and make a live action movie not about Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, it's the true horrors beyond my comprehension would have been a live action Mickey Mouse with the mops.
Yeah, dude.
Anyway, this movie is so inscrutable because it does a time wipe. So the first scene is Jay Baruchel's character at 10. Then the second scene is him at 20 in college with his and he is a physics major who was in therapy for a decade because he told everybody about being a sorcerer's apprentice. And now he doesn't believe any of it. And then Nicolas Cage, who is looking for the Prime Merlinian, which, stop trying to make the Prime Merlinian a thing. It's not going to happen. He's this 100,000-year-old whatever sorcerer who has trapped evil Alfred Molina in a Russian nesting doll, but also his lover, Monica Bellucci, who is holding the soul of an evil sorceress, played by somebody else famous. Anyway, the problem is that I don't know who this is marketed to. I knew it was supposed to be for the Harry Potter crowd, but when you do that time wipe and have Jay Baruchel be 20 and his best friend roommate is like, "Hey, let's go get drunk and meet cheerleaders tonight," I'm like, who is this for?
Who is it for? Yeah.
And it's not compelling. Nicolas Cage is so chill that you don't even get like over the top Nick Cage action. It was just such a head scratcher that I had to tell you guys about watching it. It's on Disney Plus. If you have Disney Plus, watch it.
Sounds like an amazing double feature for Fright Night Part 2, actually, where a character has to go to his therapist because no one believes.
Pick.
Yeah. Oh.
But please don't make me watch it again within the next 12 months.
You've done it. You've spoiled it.
Now I've done it. We don't let the
Now
Patreon
he's
pick those,
done it.
though. They don't get to pick the picks. They just get to vote on the picks.
Yeah, we have to provide the juice for him.
Yeah.
And speaking
the
of
green
providing
juice.
There it is.
Speaking of giving juice, I don't know where I'm going with this.
Careful.
Stay tuned next week for more Horror Movie Night.
listening to the Geekscape Network.